If you're looking to buy a new car in the near future, an interesting piece has been added to the puzzle: should I go electric? More and more electric cars are being announced by automakers, and there are a ton of options out there, at least it seems. At the same time, Tesla is the prominent company for electric vehicles and has sold far more than any other company in the US. Today we're going to look at the advantages that brings and the problems it spells for other EVs, so let's get into it. And a special thanks to Masterworks for sponsoring a portion of this video. To start with, let's quickly look over some of the advantages that EVs have in general. These are advantages you'll get with any brand. They are nearly silent and have zero emissions. When charged from zero emission sources, they have very little impact. And even when charged from non-sustainable sources, they have far less of an impact than gasoline vehicles. They are much cheaper to fuel, much more efficient than gasoline vehicles, don't require oil changes, and have far less maintenance than gasoline vehicles. If you can charge at home as well, you'll only save time by not needing to go out to visit a gas station again. On road trips, that can add a little bit of time when charging, but we'll detail that in a bit. Then EVs have instant torque, leading to the quickest accelerating vehicles in the world today being electric. Those are benefits across the board, and I'm very much pro EV from any company. With that said, there is a reason why Teslas are so popular, and that's what we're going to detail today. First up is supply and demand. For a long time now, there has been a general idea that the competition would arrive and knock Tesla out. This idea did make sense. Tesla was a new company selling expensive cars, trying to compete with brands who have been doing this successfully for years. All they have to do is slap a battery pack on their cars like Tesla, and they'll be good to go. The thing is, it has proven far more complicated than that, and automakers are just starting to get this piece. That leads to both supply and demand for Teslas growing, and each feed off of each other. Teslas have been over 80% of the US EV market for a while, and the most recent charts show just how drastic this difference still is. This is a chart from Reuters showing the first 6 months of EV sales in the US. Tesla is in green, selling nearly 10 times that of the automaker in second place. Quote, Tesla outsold its next 19 rivals combined by a wide margin. This chart shows the top-selling models in the US, with the Model Y and Model 3 dominating. This also has a bit of a compounding effect, since the more Tesla can make, the more people can buy them. The more people buy them, the more Tesla can lower the price, and the more people can get used to seeing these cars around. They're becoming commonplace, and buying a Tesla just doesn't seem risky like it used to, since you just drove past 50 of them on your drive today. For some, this could be a reason not to buy, but it ultimately means that Tesla is well positioned to make a lot of these cars, and they are available. It's great to see a Chevy Blazer EV or a Chevy Equinox EV, but when can you actually buy one of these cars? The true answer is nobody really knows. That's a problem. Politics and unions aside here, AOC recently found that there's no union-made EV that actually makes sense to trade her Tesla in for. That's a problem that other EVs have. Competitive EVs have been announced, but when can you actually get them? Number 2 is direct sales. Tesla sells direct to customers, and there is no middleman. The main way to order a Tesla is through their website. You can configure your car, place your order, and wait a couple weeks for your car, or you can buy one in inventory right away. When buying this car, you clearly see pricing along the way, and the only things added after that are a delivery fee, normal vehicle buying fees through your state, and taxes. Even though Tesla can and does change these prices periodically, it's very clear and transparent. Even if you go to a Tesla store to buy a Tesla, they will guide you through this exact website process. On the other side of things are dealerships. Legacy automakers like GM, which includes Chevy and Cadillac among others, Ford, VW, and more, have a dealership network. That means that at the end of the day, MSRP is exactly what it stands for: manufacturer's suggested retail price. It's the suggested price, and the dealer has every right to mark it up. This practice has luckily slowed a bit this year, but we've seen some pretty ridiculous dealer markups on new electric vehicles from other brands since they are in such low supply. Not only are they difficult to get, as we talked about with supply and demand, but since there are so few, dealers are charging a premium for them. This isn't the point of electric vehicles at all, and this is something that could definitely get bad again as a result of UAW strikes. Even with a small stop on production, non-Tesla EVs will be in short supply, and dealers can take advantage of that. You show up ready to buy the car you registered for and find out they'll give it to you for an extra $10,000 or $20,000. This is a practice that is a problem, and it's driving people to Tesla. Even if Tesla does raise prices, it's at least very clear on their website, and they won't spring a last-minute markup on you after you've configured a car. Next up is something that may matter to you or not, but impacts your potential savings when buying an EV, where Teslas are made. For the US market, Teslas are made in the US. The Model 3, Y, S, and X are made at Tesla's Fremont factory, and the Model Y and Cybertruck are made or being made at Tesla's Texas factory. With this, as well as where Tesla sources their supply, it makes them the most American-made vehicle brand. The 2023 American Made Index by Cars.com ranked all cars of any type, and Tesla scored spots 1 through 4. They make 4 cars. After them, we see Honda, VW, Toyota, Kia, and it's not until number 16 that an American car company actually comes in with Lincoln. When looking at EVs, the next one after Tesla's offerings is the VW ID4 in 6th, and then the Ford F-150 Lightning in 38th. After that is the Mercedes EQS in 92nd, and the Nissan Leaf in 93rd. They detail their methodology clearly, and Tesla has every other EV beat here by a long shot. So if an American-made electric vehicle is important to you, there is none more American than Tesla. For many, this won't matter too much, but it does have a big impact when it comes to number 4, tax credits. When buying an EV in the US, there is a federal EV tax credit available that could get you up to $7,500 back. It has some specific criteria, like this year having a tax liability, but that will be changing next year to be available at the point of sale. Quote, beginning in 2024, taxpayers will have the option to transfer the credit to the dealer at the point of sale to directly lower the price of the vehicle by the corresponding credit amount. That will be much more enticing for customers since the savings are available right there, assuming you meet the criteria. That criteria includes AGI caps depending on your tax filing status, but not only do you have to qualify for this incentive, so does the EV that you are buying. In order for cars to qualify for any of this credit, they must have final assembly in North America, and this isn't the case with all EVs. Some, like the Ioniq 5, are currently built overseas, so they simply do not qualify for this credit unless going through a specific leasing loophole. Right there, it's pretty clear that Tesla does have an advantage, as every version of the Model 3 and Model Y qualifies for this tax credit fully. So does the Model X long range. They first qualify because of final assembly in the US, but then there are also specific battery sourcing requirements. Quote, to be eligible for the battery portion of the credit, up to $3,750, a certain percentage of the vehicle's battery must be assembled or manufactured within North America. You can see the percentages here, and they get stricter each year. On top of that, quote, cars must meet a critical minerals requirement to receive the remaining $3,750 portion of the credit. This requirement stipulates that a certain percentage of critical minerals in the car's battery must be extracted or processed within the US or within a country with whom the US has a free trade agreement. Here are those battery percentages. In 2024, battery parts will no longer be able to come from a foreign country of concern, which includes China. And in 2025, the same will happen with critical minerals. This is a big deal because China makes more EV battery supply than any other country. And in order for many of those non-Tesla EVs to scale, they are very reliant on China. This is changing, and Tesla isn't completely free of this issue, as they too use batteries from China in specific vehicle configurations. However, they have a big lead in being set up with multiple suppliers and making their own batteries. They currently do this at their factory in Nevada, which is a partnership with Panasonic, and Texas, making their own new 4680 size batteries completely themselves. No other brand is set up this way or diversified this much. If you don't understand the world of finance, you're not alone. Tesla stock is up over 99% year to date. Buyers and investors are still excited about the future, but you wouldn't get that impression from most headlines. Tesla is one of only 7 US stocks responsible for the entire global economy's growth right now. But many investors aren't in any of those stocks. This top-heavy market is putting many people's financial future at risk, and the Wall Street Journal just reported that traditional investing models are falling apart. This is why some professionals have already ditched the traditional stock-bond portfolio in favor of alternative assets like fine art. Investing in art can be a great way to reduce risk and provide growth potential no matter what is happening in the economy, the markets, and the world, because the price of art keeps going up. I haven't started my art investing journey yet, but some of you have already begun investing there with today's sponsor, Masterworks. Masterworks has analyzed decades of auction data to buy over 300 paintings from legendary artists like Banksy, Picasso, Kaws, and Kusama. They've sold 16 paintings so far, and each of them delivered a profit, generating over $45 million in returns, and their last 3 sales went for returns of 13%, 17%, and even 77%. Over 850,000 people have joined the platform, and that number is growing by the day. But my subscribers can skip the waitlist and start collecting today by using my special link in the description below. For the Model 3 and X, Tesla does warn reductions to tax credit likely after December 31st. However, there's no such warning for the Model Y, which means it will likely fully qualify in 2024 as the list of eligible competing EVs gets smaller. Setting up a full localized battery supply chain is a very long process, so it will be challenging for other EVs to offer this credit next year. If you qualify, $7,500 could definitely sway a lot of people to one car over another. It could be a problem with another EV other than a Tesla. Next up is safety. Now, electric cars in general are far safer than many seem to believe, but beyond that, Teslas are designed for passenger safety and it shows. To prevent an accident, they have their built-in Autopilot safety systems. These aren't a premium upgrade or anything, and instead come standard on every Tesla. This includes automatic emergency braking, forward collision warning, blind spot collision warning, and lane departure avoidance. Those are there to prevent an accident by using 8 cameras, but what further sets Tesla apart from others with similar systems is what happens when a crash occurs. The battery pack helps reduce rollover risk, the side sills absorb impact, protect occupants and the battery, the body helps prevent cabin intrusion, the crumple zones soften impact, and those help the airbags fully inflate to protect passengers. This has led to every single Tesla achieving 5 stars in every category from NHTSA. Furthermore, Euro NCAP awarded the Model Y the top safety score of any vehicle tested and gave their safety assist features a 98% rating. They truly are the safest cars to be in if an accident occurs. Other EVs are proving very safe as well, which is great to see, but Tesla still does come out on top here. For number 6, there is charging. I have had a lot of EV experience, and I live in California, a very pro-EV state. You might think this would mean my charging experience would be skewed positive because the charging infrastructure in California, where there's a lot of EVs, must be solid. But this just is not my experience, or the experience of many other EV owners. Tesla has a nearly indescribable lead when it comes to EV charging. They just hit 50,000 Tesla superchargers worldwide, and their reliability nears 100%. That means you pull up to a charger, plug in, and charge. This is how it should be for all electric vehicles, but this just is not the case when using third-party charging networks on other electric cars. I've talked about this in depth in the past, so I'll keep this part of the video short, but if you plan to road trip often in your EV, the only EV to buy at this point is a Tesla. All other electric vehicles are subject to networks with varying reliability, availability, speed, and more. Ford's CEO, Jim Farley, actually just did a road trip in the Ford F-150 Lightning. He waited around 40 minutes to get a 40% charge and said, "Charging has been pretty challenging." Furthermore, he added, "It was a really good reality check of the challenges that our customers go through." The US Secretary of Energy went on a road trip recently to promote EVs. They were in a convoy of a Cadillac Lyriq, F-150 Lightning, and Chevy Bolt. Then gas-powered SUVs were following them. As expected, from an experienced EV goer, they had problems and didn't have enough chargers for their convoy. One was broken and others were in use, so they tried to save a spot with a gas-powered car, and the cops ended up being called on them for blocking a charging stall from an EV owner who actually needed it. It was a great example of just how rough the infrastructure is when driving anything but a Tesla. Many articles detail this experience, but seem to neglect the fact that this just doesn't occur for Teslas. Luckily, this is changing, as Tesla will be opening up 12,000 superchargers to other EVs in 2024. Still, Tesla will keep an advantage here by keeping at least another 8,000 and counting chargers in North America exclusive to their cars. This is a huge reason people buy Teslas, and it's compounding because the more Teslas they sell, the more chargers they can and need to install across the country. I will say though, if you plan to charge at home the majority of the time, the charging experience is just as easy regardless of the EV you buy. Next up relates to charging, and that's experience. For many, they see Ford and GM as the companies with the true experience, and Tesla is the newcomer. This is true for cars, but not for electric cars, which are very different. Tesla has sold over 5 million cars, all of which are electric. Ford, GM, Hyundai, Kia, VW, and other household names are really just getting started compared to this, and it means that Tesla has a lot more experience with electric vehicles at scale. If you want to go electric, but also want to buy from a dependable automaker you can rely on, that might actually be Tesla, and this is a problem for other automakers. I'm rooting for them 100%, and I want them to figure it all out. But Tesla has a lot more experience in this regard, and they have vertically integrated so that they have control over most of their car. This comes into play in a big way with number 8, technology. Tesla has been working on their software since the Model S originally launched a decade ago. Since then, they've improved it consistently to the point where when it comes to vehicle software, they have it more dialed than anyone. There are other companies making much better vehicle software than we've seen in the past, but a big advantage for Tesla is getting software updates that bring useful features. A few weeks ago, they improved the quality of the camera feeds in vehicle just via software, so improvements like these come all the time. Others like Rivian are taking a similar approach with regular updates improving things, but by and large, Tesla does this more than anyone else. It's reliable, but also builds into their ecosystem, which could somewhat be compared to Apple's. The phone app for a Tesla is the best car phone app out there. On a basic level, you can do basic controls, precondition the climate, change charging settings, and more. But you can also check your car's exact location, live stream the camera feeds around and inside the car, see up-to-date charging stats and how much you've saved compared to buying gas, buy software upgrades, see your driving safety score, earn referral credits and redeem them for various rewards, and much more. This is a great app and it's fully designed in-house by Tesla. It shows, and so does the fact that a lot of this car is designed in-house as well. It allows Tesla to improve things via software that other brands may not be able to. One such problem was detailed by Ford's CEO Jim Farley in regards to the F-150 Lightning. Quote, "We farmed out all the modules that control the vehicles to our suppliers because we can bid them against each other. We have about 150 modules with semiconductors all through the car. The problem is that the software is written by 150 different companies, and they don't talk to each other. So even though it says Ford on the front, I actually have to go to Bosch to get permission to change their seat control software. This is a problem other automakers are dealing with and starting to recognize, but Tesla has been working away from this for years. It helps create this ecosystem feeling, which even goes down to the cloud synced driver profile. All of your settings, seat positions, mirror adjustments, streaming service logins, and more are saved to the cloud. Then when you buy another Tesla, get a loaner from Tesla Service, or rent one from Hertz, you log in with a QR code and have all of your familiar settings immediately. It's a seamless experience that not many are shipping at this point. Overall, though, the main problem with other EV software is that it is old and built off of older cars and feels dated. This becomes a problem when integrating charging infrastructure and clear, up-to-date information there. Last up today is number 9, and that's Autopilot. Tesla's Autopilot system is included with every car they sell, and it's expansive. On top of that, it fully includes Tesla's FSD computer, so the car is capable of doing more if you were to upgrade. The important thing here, though, that might cause a problem with other systems, is that the Autopilot system is a smart system. It drives anywhere there are clearly marked roads, as opposed to pre-mapped roads like many other EVs rely on. Plus, Tesla is working on their ambitious goals of full self-driving, so improvements here trickle down to their basic Autopilot system via software updates. It's not a perfect system, but it's more capable than most, especially when considering it's a stock feature. If you plan to use driver assist very often, Tesla Autopilot will be available most often for you. As you can see, there is a reason why Teslas keep selling so well, even as other EVs get announced. These are some of Tesla's advantages in this space, and some of what makes other electric vehicles seem to have problems in comparison. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I'm very pro-EV in general, but I'm also a stickler for a great, well-made product that provides a seamless user experience. If some of these things we talked about today are important for you, they may be worth considering as you shop for an electric vehicle. I'm excited to see what the future holds and can't wait to see if this list gets shorter or longer in the next decade. We'll see. In the meantime, if you want to see the latest Tesla news, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.